Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
We're going to call this meeting to order. First, I'd like to acknowledge and welcome our room-filling advisory board. Thank you guys for coming in to make sure we're on our P's and Q's. All right, we're going to have an invocation. Reverend Moss, invocation?
Yes, sir.
And then we're going to pledge allegiance.
Precious God, our Father, here we are again for purpose that you already know about. We invoke your presence here. We pray now that this meeting will have meaning as well as purpose, but as always, that you will get the glory. It is in that mighty and matchless name of Jesus our Christ we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we'll have a little roll call by Mrs. Trudy Bim Howard.
Chief Carl Dunn,
Here.
Sergeant Connie Curse,
Here.
Ms. Jacqueline Ash Grant, Ms. Ingrid Payne, Councilwoman Carolyn Coleman, Ms. Mary Washington, Attorney Jennifer Mozant, Ms. Kathy Coleman, Dr. Mary Whitley Moss, Reverend Donald Hunter,
Here.
Mrs. Geraldine Key, Ms. Jerry Booker, Representative Larry Selders, Senator Larry
Senator.
and Coach Anthony Coach Anthony Jones, and Miss Sonia Boss. Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Y'all, if y'all don't mind, y'all, we got some new board members, some new advisory board members, but some of y'all faces look for me, but if y'all don't mind, can we start right here and have y'all introduce yourself?
My name is Barney Huggins, and I'm with the Great Center up in Cheneyville.
Yes, sir, all right.
All right, Mr. Huggins.
Dave Goldsmith from Highland Road.
All right.
Carolyn Wooten Perkins
All
Center.
right.
Cheryl Jones, Charles R. Kelly Center.
Yes, ma'am.
Sherman Jones, Charles R. Kelly Center.
Francis Johnson, Pearl Charge, President.
All right.
All right.
Deborah Douglas, Lotus Center. Frida Comager, Lotus Center. Barbara Berry, Leo Butler Center.
All right.
Mary Lathers, Leo Butler Center.
Sharon O'Connor, Lotus.
Firma LaBeouf, Lotus, #1.
Hey, throw something in there.
Lisa Singletary, Central.
All right.
Glenn Singletary Central.
All right.
Right, that's the advisory board.
Yeah, that's, all right, we're gonna adopt I entertain a motion to adopt the agenda. All right, moved in second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right, are there any nays? No nays? All right, agenda is adopted. Are there any public comments at this time? The floor is open for any public comments at this time. All right, appear to be none. All right, action items. A, Council on Aging, increase ad valorem tax millage 2025 rates. Whether they roll forward or not, that's why I think we're here.
That's exactly right. So I know you all have been hearing quite a bit of talk about taxes, millages, surpluses. And so on the 12th, not only is the library on the agenda, but so is the Council on Aging. We've been on the agenda, this will be our third time about the same issue. We were on the agenda in September, again, maybe about a month ago, where they are rolling our millage back. They, meaning the Metro Council, rolling the amount of meals back that we have. We initially had our millage passed by the people at 2.25 meals. If you look at the TV, there's a slide with the calculation of what that kind of looks like. So in 2016, we had approved 2.25 mills by the people of East Baton Rouge. And we're gonna use a house valued at $200,000 with the homestead exemption, if you got approved, at $75,000. So your mill rate is on the $125,000 that is remaining once they back out the $75,000. So at 2.25 mills times $125,000, that equals $28,125. Now Ms. Pratt came up with this. This is the formula they use. Don't ask me what the 1 point, all of that means. But at the end of the day, if you have a $200,000 house, you're paying about $28.12 a year. Okay, and so in 2020, during the pandemic, they rolled us back, us and everybody else, at 2.1 to 2.13 mills. They rolled us back under the auspices of we were in a pandemic and an emergency, and that all entities, including BRPD, fire, everybody was being rolled back. So at that point, we didn't contest it. We didn't say anything. We understood. And so we went back from 2.25 to 2.13 mills, which is about a reduction on the $200,000 house. It went to about $26.62. Currently, the current legislation is to roll us back further from the 2.13 to the 2.0, which on the $200,000 house is about $25. Now, why is that important to us? Because there is between, for 2020, for the 2.13 and the 2.0, if we stay at the 2.0, we will get, at the 2.13, about $750,000 additional dollars. So the rollback was to prohibit us from getting any additional funding. But so our point of contention is, like everything else and everybody else, we also are experiencing inflation, right? Eggs are up. We make a cornbread now. I was telling somebody just water in the batter. No eggs. They cost too much, right? So eggs are up. Fuel is up. We got fleet is up, and we have more demand for our services now than ever before, and every day that demand increases. And I've said this, we had capacity at all centers. There's no center where I can go in and have an extra 10 seats. That's not happening. We are at the threshold on the Meals on Wheels services where we can't serve anymore, right? Because we'll be out of money. We won't have enough money to maintain them on the service. And so the 750 is critical for us to be able to continue at where we are today. If you recall, some months ago, before the former mayor left, she incentivized us, provided an additional $650,000 to the agency so that we would not cut people off of Meals on Wheels, and those were ARP funds, and those lasted until December. So here we are in our new year, and we're facing some challenges. On top of the fact that we've been speaking with council members that really support our efforts and what we do, and we have been told that, you know, the library is first, the rest of us are later. And it's been said by the administration that they're looking to cut a lot of the other taxing authorities or taxing entities. So we wanted, to have this discussion with you all, because when I go on the 12th, you know, the last time I was there, they asked me, did I have a conversation with my board? So I want to make sure that I do that I have it on the record, that you all are guiding me on what you want me to do or not do. I've had a conversation with the chair of the advisory board, hence why they're here. They have their own plan, what they want to do. And so, of course, what they want to do, they go from 0 to 1,000. There's no in between. We going over there and take over. So, but I wanted to have this discussion, so I have our legal counsel here that's going to advise us. I've also asked Councilwoman Coleman to give us her take as the Metro Council representative. So if we can hear from Councilwoman Coleman, and then we'll hear from the attorney to see what we can and cannot do.
I say good afternoon to
Good
everyone
afternoon,
that's
ma'am.
here. And so I want the record to reflect that I've met, so that means I'm on, whoa. I want the record to reflect that I am not, and I've had conversations with folk in the community who are not for Council on Aging budget being bothered at all. And I don't know, and I guess I'll yield to the legal here. If this has been voted on by the people, and the people say what is and what should be, I don't understand how someone can come in stronghold and say that they want this money to go another route. And yes, it's the library now, but it's going to be others later. And that has been talked about. Now, there are some council persons that stand with the same concept that I stand with. There are some that are on the other side. But I can say this. When this came out, there was no conversation that had been had with council members. We knew nothing about what had been presented and had been put out there about what was going to happen with the library and any of the others. And so, with that being said, and it was a good thing because it was bipartisan, that they felt like we had been overlooked. So what that did was back them all the way back up, and now they're in a posture of looking at a different plan. There has been a lot of strike back from folk that actually support this library and who's not for what was put out there. So I want that to be made known. And so here we are, and I can't say what is, because there's a meeting tomorrow. And so with that being said, we hope that, something can, different can happen. A lot of the powers that be that I spoke with concern is, it's library today, but it's going to be Council on Aging and BREC tomorrow. And so that's what is. I also said that Council on Aging had taken a lick when others didn't. They gave up money, millage, whatever you want to call it, when others didn't. And so I guess that's the reason why now we're at, and then they're saying about library have so much, but I guess that's the reason why. Also, we had some council persons who really don't understand and don't know what Council on Aging is, what is being done. And so they've been invited to come. And so when they were questioned about why they were acting so anti-Council on Aging, then it forced them to come and really see, and they were amazed at what goes on here, there, everywhere under the umbrella of Council on Aging. And I tell you what, that kitchen just flipped them. I'm going to tell you all that right now. And so that's where I, along with some others, stand. And so I have to say, when this came out, we had not had any conversation. And I say we, I'm talking about the council persons, and I can at least speak. There are 12 of us, but I can speak for about 10. Had not had any conversation and knew nothing about what was getting ready to be rolled out.
When you say they, you mean the administration?
Okay, let me be
Mayor,
specific. Yeah. When I say they, I'm talking about the mayor and his team. That's what I'm talking about. And so they and whosoever, yeah. So when this rolled out by them, by the mayor and his team, then we were not knowledgeable of it. And I have to say, he had to acknowledge that that was an error. He had to acknowledge that he was in error for doing it in that manner. And so, yeah, get your spank, then you come back. So that's where things, yeah. And so that's what it is.
There was an article in the business report today. I don't know if any of you saw it or read it, by Rolf McAllister, who's generally anti-tax for everything.
Right.
But he was railing on the administration, who he compliments and otherwise supports and likes, for attacking the library and trying to get the money for police ostensibly from the library, which he makes a point of saying is one of the best run organizations in the city. There is a lot of support out there, as we saw, for the library that I wouldn't have guessed is as strong as it is, but it's
Right.
big, and it cuts across
Yeah.
all sectors of this community.
Mm-hmm.
White, black, young, and old, there's a lot of support for the library. I think they learned a lesson with the library, that they had walked into a real beehive.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of backed them down all across the board. The library looks like, that's gonna be your plan, is easy pickings, because they have such a high millage.
Right.
And it's not what you would call necessarily essential, which the Council on Aging is. People rely on this organization. My advice to you is fight, fight, fight. Show up in mass. We'll make a presentation tomorrow to whoever's gonna hear us, and at the next council meeting, if they decide to bring it back up, I will tell you that they can't just take the money, take our millage, and disperse it elsewhere. The Constitution says that a vote on a millage, that has been approved for a specific purpose can only be used for that specific purpose. That's number one. Their way to try to get around that, and the only way they can get around it, is by having a separate election to try to change our millage. That is, I would think, a very uphill climb for them. They've got to know that, the administration I'm talking about. And I think they realize that they will have poked a hornet's nest if they decide to go there, because if they had trouble attacking the library and getting all that fight, if they were to try to have a separate election, our millages wouldn't be passing. If it wouldn't have passed in the first place if we didn't have support of the community. People in our community want the Council on Aging. We know we need the Council on Aging. It is an essential service to so many people in this community, well beyond the library. Well, I'm not saying the library is not essential or it's not important, it is. But the Council on Aging is about making sure that people have a quality of life that is respectable, and that there's meals, and that there are activities. That story needs to be told. There is a segment of this community, there is a portion of that council that does not understand, even today, how important the Council on Aging is, how well we steward the monies that are entrusted to us, and how every year, year after year, this agency gets many accolades for the job that we do. We are a model agency, not just for the state, but for the country. That story's got to be told, and we will continue to tell that story. Now, if there is an election, if there is another election to try to change the millage, I think it fails miserably, and I think anybody in politics is telling them that. But even more so, it's a politically dumb idea, and I think they have to know that. I hope they know that. So rest assured, they can't change it. They can roll us forward, roll us back based on the tax rolls and how much money is produced by the taxes every year. But they can't use our money that comes from those millages, or from that millage, for other purposes than that which is designated in that tax. We're gonna let them know that loud and clear tomorrow. Hopefully, we
12th.
can nip this in the bud.
We're going on the 12th. Tomorrow is just one council person.
Yes, yes,
We're going on the 12th.
on the 12th. And assuming we get the opportunity to speak.
Right. Oh, we're
One-
going, yes, sir. Yes,
One
ma'am.
thing that folk are not, they're acting as if they're apprehensive about saying, and that is, all of this is a result of St. George. I want to make sure that I put that out there. All of this is a result of St. George, and it's going to get, as my dad would say, wassa and wassa. Yes, because
Every year you're gonna need some more
year
money.
You've got to come up
Right.
with some money to send out there to St. George.
Right.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
You had, I think, from what I read in the paper, you had 2 council persons to visit the council on aging. Will we experience a positive report / impact from them as a result of the visit?
I say yes to you because when they came and when they returned, I asked, so what? So they wanted to play, oh, no, I'm just playing, Councilwoman. It was awesome. Those were the words that were stated.
Or will they say that?
Well, you mean,
And especially when vote time comes,
you know.
that's when we say it.
Well, I asked the question, and I asked the question in front of others, and they said that it was awesome over here. That's what I was told, and I'm talking about somebody who, so what did they tell you?
That they were highly impressed. Can I say who it is?
I would.
Councilman Hudson, Dwight Hudson, you know, he has been anti-council on aging since his first day. And he came and he spent about an hour and a half with us, and we went through a litany of questions that he had. A lot of information he had was incorrect.
Misinformation.
He had some misinformation. One of his main issues was that he thought that we built Lotus Village with millage money. And so he wanted to know how much money did we spend, millage dollars for Lotus Village. And I think Ms. Pratt and I narrowed it down to about $34,000 on the $27 million project was our input. And that was only just for specific things that we wanted that was outside of the scope of the contract. For example, and we explained to him that $34,000 really went to dual shower heads. So when you have somebody that's home, you know, you can have a sprayer that the caregiver can use in case something happens to wash them. And then some lowering of the cabinets and some different type pulls to make the units fully aging in place. And so he was good with that. Another question he wanted to know, and I think that they were under the impression that everybody around here has a company credit card and a gas card and a fleet card, and so my maintenance, my fleet department said, oh no, you have to check the card out. Here we give you 30 minutes, get your gas, bring the card back in and the receipt and sign it back in. And so he looked at those, and he looked at how we do the meals and how the meals go out to the homes, and he asked the kitchen about how many meals they make a day, and they told him some odd 20,000, and so he was impressed. And he said, wow, I had some stuff incorrect. And then we kind of left it at that. Councilman Dunn was with him. He made a whole video. It's on his page of their tour. So I think that, I won't say that he's going to be a friend, but I think he won't be such a bad foe now that he's informed.
So one is coming tomorrow?
Tomorrow, Murphy and I have a meeting with Councilman Moak from the central area, who has been I guess he has some same kind of issues, but his conversation is not that he doesn't want to tour, and he doesn't really want to know what it is we do. He wants to talk about what we'll be willing to negotiate to give up, because his thought process is if he gets us all, the taxing entities, to say we'll give up $1 million here or $1 million there of our money, that he could pool it all together and then go back and come up with a fix. And Murphy said we won't be giving up anything. We go get him some water but we won't be giving any money away. But I'm gonna let Murphy tell him. Yeah, so Murphy and I are meeting with him tomorrow.
Yeah, and there's no, the way the process works, you can't take money from us and spend it on other things. There's got to be a whole new election. You got to get people to change their minds about the Council on Aging or library, whatever it is. This administration, I think, is fast learning that this idea, this notion of taking millages away and trying to pool that into a group to raise some additional money isn't going to work. It's not working because of what Councilwoman Coleman said. There's a big outflow of money coming because of St. George. They got to find money somewhere. And they looked at us as low-hanging fruit, and they thought they could take it, and we can't let them.
And so,
And if you all saw the council meeting last week, when Mr. Broomfield said, we are still doing some things in some of the areas that's supposed to be, you know, big boys and big girls out there, those unincorporated. And so some of those things ought to be what they ought to be doing. So that's going to be part of my conversation, that those are the kind of things that you all need to be looking at, administration, and reeling those things in and making them accountable. They wanted to be standalones, so make them accountable to do what needs to be done. Can't have your cake and eat it too.
right. So for us, what we want to know as the administration of the council is, first of all, we want you guys' blessing, because as Murphy says, we intend to fight. So on the 12th, the last 2 occasions when we've been there and they've rolled us back, it's just been me and staff. But this time I think it's going to be critical for them to see board members, advisory board members, and seniors, because at the end of the day, we all pay this tax in some way, shape, or form. And so it's good for us to go and fight, and you know, but the first thing they think is we fight for our jobs. But what they don't understand is it's a mission for us and not necessarily a job. And so we intend on going on the 12th. We are on the agenda, and we're going to fight as it relates to rolling us back. We do not want to be rolled back any further.
Well, I think it's essential for those of us who to know who our council person is.
Yes.
And I think we should make it known by telephone calls, emails, letters, knocking on the door saying, I support, I am a senior, I'm repping Central.
Right.
I'm repping because, you know, the senior centers rep their centers hard. Charles R. Kelly.
Right.
And I think you should go to every single council person. I will go to my council person. I intend to, and she lives in my neighborhood.
Okay.
And especially those of you who live in St. George. My neighborhood was cut out. I live in Baton Rouge. I don't live in St. George. But if you live in St. George, you should be talking to, if you think it's a problem, an image of who the council is, tell them. I think we need to do it as members, and I think the advisory board, and I think individual seniors who benefit, who getting the Meals on Wheels, need to bombard their offices with messages, with notes.
Okay.
You know, don't nobody take a pie, but show up and let them know about, if they don't know, they can't say they don't know. So between now and next week, we need to call, and I'm calling my council lady tonight.
Okay. Good. Ma'am?
I said, just like when it's time to vote for them, they come to church and all those places, you need to go meet them.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I really believe that the approach to this has to be formal.
Okay. All right.
You can't just say you do this and you do that.
Mm-hmm.
You got to identify all of the players, representatives and senators, not just council persons.
Okay.
And you have to bring the weight of this organization to those persons. And whether things are constitutional, Mr. Foster, today or not, doesn't play a whole lot with the legal process that we have. I mean, from the highest office down to the level of the law. I hope that the judges can lean with us, but you do have a situation where money constitutionally is being moved from Baton Rouge now to the city of St. George. And constitutionally, we're saying that you should take our money to deal with the loss that those funds would amount to. So, to me, it's the battle. It is how do we influence the system now? Formally, what are the players? All of the people that you serve. I see all of these numbers right here.
Mm-hmm.
My God. You already have an army. God said to Moses, what's that's in your hand? It's already in your hand.
Okay.
So now formally, just say you call. But actually organize a plan for us as the board, the centers, for what role will each one of us play, your advisory board, exactly what are our steps, and then let's go forward. But not haphazardly.
Okay.
It has to be formal.
We can do that.
You know, Reverend Hunter, you're right. We need talking points.
Right. We have those.
Okay,
Well, we were just waiting for you all to let us go.
give it to us.
All right. We have those.
Reverend Hunter is right.
They've been prepared. So we do have talking points because we, of course, want to stay on the subject. I know that we are proponents and we want to argue for us, and we don't mind arguing for the library, but we want to argue for us first, right? And so the advisory board has been discussing that. And so we will get talking points. Trudy will get talking points to everyone. Not only talking points, but fact sheet. In your folder, you have what we've done since we have acquired the millage, and it speaks volumes,
Yes, it
right?
does. Yes, it
And
does.
so you can have that as a tool as well.
Your press, your radio.
Right. Okay.
Formal. You have
Okay.
to run a campaign.
Run a campaign.
This
I got it.
organization.
All right.
Do you have a site or sites in the St. George area?
Yes, we do. Perkins Road is in the St. George area. Antioch, and is it Highland? And Highland.
And all those persons are on board with us today?
Well,
Fully on board?
I have kind of put the advisory board, they started their own campaign. And I asked them to just hold up a minute before, so we could discuss with you all. But what they have been doing is already talking among themselves, going back to their centers and engaging the seniors to come on the 12th and equipping them with the knowledge they need to know as it relates to our millage and as well as the library. So they have been given, the president, Ms. Frances Johnson, they have some talking points. And they have their own set of talking points, and so it's my understanding that they're ready to go. But I kind of asked them to hold on until we had this meeting so that we could all be on one page. And there's a map on the back of this sheet. Now, this is just a copy, but we have some better paper printed ones. But there's a map that designates where the centers are, in what parts of the town and the community, all the locations. Okay.
Better copies that everyone.
Yeah, we'll get you some better copies to everyone. And we'll also email it to you, for you all that's going to do email. Also on the 12th, if you're gonna come to the council meeting, one thing we noticed at the last council meeting, we were there the night that the library's proposal was up, to be able to get their effort on the ballot. One thing that happened is they put that item at the end of the agenda. So they, the Metro Council, they determined that they'll wait and do everything else and then do that last. And what happened was, they kind of got bogged down with people coming up making repetitive statements. And so we are going to ask that a certain amount speak and a certain amount speak on said topic, and limit our conversation to maybe a minute, minute and a half at the most, so that we'll be able to hear our issue. If not, they'll run out of time, because that happened at the last meeting. Am I right, Councilman?
You are correct. Yes, yes, ma'am. You're correct. And then you can extend it, but you can't extend it but after.
For 34 minutes.
That's correct. So,
And y'all
so
have to
maybe
call the meetings at a certain time, 8 p.m.?
8:04. And then they can extend it by 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
Okay.
So maybe as someone's speaking, a whole group can stand or something.
Stand with them.
But you gotta be
Okay.
creative so that everything can be heard. Let them know you're in the house.
Yeah.
Stand on the wall.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna be on 2 or 3 floors. At last I heard our count was well over 300 seniors participating. So we're gonna be in some overflow spaces and some other spaces, so. Right.
So are you going to because of the time-sensitive nature of your presentations, a written document with your position should be in the hand of all city council persons?
Okay.
That keeps it from getting to a point of saying, well, you didn't get to this. But if they have it, and this is our position, 1, 2, 3, 4, you've taken away that time-sensitive issue.
Okay. That's good. Anything else, Chief?
Let's see.
All right, then.
All right, wait.
Okay.
Are we clear on what time we should arrive? Those of us that are coming.
Well, the meeting starts at 4. It's my understanding that the seniors will be there hours early. You know, but the meeting starts at 4 o'clock. But you know, they gonna come early.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
And so, and then the library people will be there. It's my understanding that the police officers will be there also. And so if you want to sit down, I suggest you come as early as you
Very
possibly
early.
can. Very
Yes.
early, if you want to sit down.
So let's roll back for 1 second with Mr. Murphy. And Mr. Murphy and you will have a meeting on tomorrow.
With one council member.
With one council member. Is there any need for us to know any feedback, or you will just envelop it into all that you are doing going forward? Does the board need to know anything from your meeting on tomorrow?
It wouldn't be a bad idea to get out like a flash newsletter.
Sure.
After that meeting to tell you what
Connectivity
what that look like.
is key, because you have folk, once they start, they're gonna want to stop us and ask us, and the more we are inundated with what's going on here, even though we have those facts, the better prepared we are to speak, not only with factual knowledge, but with the energy and the synergy that needs to take place. Every now and then you need the energy to let folk know how serious this matter is, and not passive in our efforts.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Yes, Madam President, and being offensive, I don't operate on defense too well. Is it possible, and I know we got a short span between 9 and 12, you can't get a visual observation of the strength of this organization with people on one floor or the other, but is there a place where the mayor and his administration can be brought to us before the 12th, even if they don't show up? Somebody, they would send somebody, and they see the value and the position of the community.
We could use our center on Main Street, hold 200-300 people in it, and have a conversation. but I don't know if they'll be willing to entertain that conversation.
Before the 12th.
Because before the 12th, we've asked to be on the calendar. We've submitted the form to meet with the mayor. We've done our due diligence, and we've never heard back. So I don't know if how willing they would be.
And how about petitions, signatures, names and addresses that can just be delivered on the day that you'll speak or whoever it would be?
So on the day on the 12th, what they have you to do is you have to fill out a card.
Yes.
And we're gonna get the cards in advance to the seniors, and you fill out a card if you're for the millage or if you're in opposition. And then, of course, they have to read those cards into the record. So if you got to read about 500 cards, you're gonna be tired from jump, right? So we're gonna get a copy of the card that has to be filled in advance. And that's part of our strategy. You know, we're just gonna weigh them down. So we're gonna, and then we're gonna CC our card to all 12 members. So we got some plans, but before we kind of roll out those plans, we first need the backing and the blessing of the board to go ahead and move this fight forward. And so that's why we called this meeting, because I need it on the record. So when they call you, well, did you know? You can't say, no, I didn't know, because you're either for it or you're against it, but we need the record on the record.
I can appreciate the conversation too.
Yeah. Okay.
All the council members, you like providing the information about the company, like simply just like.
Well, yeah, and every quarter we send them a magazine. So there's some steps in our CEA that we have to do. We send them a quarterly report of our funds and our services. We send them an annual report. We send them every copy of every audit, so they have it. Do they read it is the question, right? Oh, he knows. He knows.
So that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. I want to know, so I want to be able to say to them, yes, you did. Yes, you did get this. Now, as a lawyer in the room, who's going to tell them? Is Murphy? Who's going to say to them what is illegal in your steps? Okay, so our
attorney, our attorney will say, he came to the meeting that they wrote us back. Murphy was there and told them how the cow ate the cabbage. He did, and he'll do it again. He ain't scared.
And so what is the position of the parish attorney? The parish attorney speaks and advises the mayor, correct?
The Metro Council.
The Metro Council. So what is the position of the Metro Council on this, the parish attorney on this illegal attempt to roll back our millage?
I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the parish attorney. And my guess is that they would like us, there's gonna be a push to try to get us to negotiate down our millage, because they know they can't change it. They can't divert our funds without another election. And so what they were hoping to do is to get the library to negotiate down. The library said we're willing to negotiate, but apparently not enough.
Right.
It didn't suit. We're not willing to negotiate.
So what did the library do?
They decided that they would, I think they're at 11.5 mills currently. They decided that they could operate on somewhere around 9 point something mills, and that they would be willing to put their item back on the ballot, because it's not our time for re-election. Our millage is not up for re-election until 2026, right? So, but they didn't allow them to get to the ballot. You have to have the votes to be able to get your measure on the ballot. And so they didn't allow that. And the library was willing to roll back to 9, but not forego their coffers. And the problem is this big goose, this amount of money that they have over here, they want that.
That's what they want.
And then them to roll back some. And so they weren't, the negotiations never occurred. Now for us, as you know, all our funds are encumbered in 2 ways. Feeding, eating,
Coming in and going out.
Services. Somebody got to deliver the service. So books don't eat, but folks eat, right? And so our funds are encumbered, which doesn't leave us at a surplus. we operate differently from the library because we are also a nonprofit. So our books tell us we got to end at zero every year. So it's nothing to come over here and collect. So what they want to collect is our future funds. Right.
If there are no more questions, we're gonna entertain a motion from the board that we are going to propose rolling forward our millage instead of rolling it back. All right, and second? All right, all in favor from the board? Aye. All right, are there any nays? No nays, so you got the board?
All right.
Full
So
support,
one last thing on this item, Chief, I would like to say. So once, it's out and this is what we're gonna do and we have a plan, the first thing will happen is press will call you all. And if we could go back to our original plan as it relates to speaking to the press, Murphy speaks to the press, Chief speaks to the press, and that's it. So we can have one message, right? And I don't speak to them. I don't speak to them. But Murphy and Chief will speak to the press. Yeah, and Jennifer tapped out too. We're not speaking to the press. All right. So if you get a call, you just tell them you got to call the chair or the attorney. All right. Okay. I think we go through the rest.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Ma'am?
New business.
Okay. All right, there any unfinished business? Any unfinished business? No unfinished business. All right. Any new business? Any new business?
Yes, I have some new business.
What you got?
And I'd like to acknowledge our newly soon to be sworn in Senator Seldis.
All right.
All right.
Let's go. We got a senator in the house. You. Congratulations.
We're proud of our American politician.
That is.
Oh, okay, wait. Ms. Pratt said we need to make a, go ahead and tell them.
Okay, I just suggested to Tasha, what you guys just agreed upon was that we want our millage rolled forward.
Yes, ma'am.
That's fine, but I think you need to specifically say, roll forward to be used by the Council on Aging. I'm gonna tell you why.
Yes, ma'am.
I went to one of those meetings for the library over on C, and I wanted to see what they were doing on that side. So I went to that meeting, and they want to roll it forward, and then they want to keep it at a certain level and take the excess, as if the Council on Aging was getting it. But that's not what they had in the proposition for the library. If you read the proposition, it says for library, but when you read further, it says stuff for the city, for his budget. So you gotta be specific.
Okay, all right.
And that's what it said, yeah.
For the council only.
We want to roll it forward, but only for the Council on Aging. You need to say it like that.
All right.
Can we
Now,
amend?
Yeah, we gon'.
Can we do
No,
that?
we can do a whole,
said we could do it.
another motion.
Yes.
All right, we're gonna entertain a motion that we not only roll our current millage of 2.13 forward, but we're gonna roll it forward on the understanding that these funds were to be used strictly for the Council on Aging and the care of our seniors in East Baton Rouge Parish. All right. All right, and second, okay, all in favor, vote aye. Aye. All right, are there any nays? No nays, all right, motion passed. Now you got the right one.
All right.
Murphy, you got the right one, Murphy.
Yes,
All right.
One last thing.
Yes, ma'am.
We have our next board meeting that's scheduled for Thursday, April the 24th. We're asking that we move the date to Thursday, April the 17th. That week that our board meeting is scheduled, several of the management are going to the aging conference, ASA conference.
National conference.
Yeah, the national conference. So we wanted to move it and wanted to make sure that it's okay for everyone.
That's Holy Thursday.
That's Holy Thursday?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
And I'll
okay.
put it in the message just so we can make sure we have it on our calendar, if you're okay with April 17th instead of April the 24th.
Thanks, sir.
That's it then, Chief.
All right. All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. All right, all in favor? All right, we are adjourned.
So look,
Council on